time. With us now is former federal prosecutor and managing partner at Baric Law, Steve Baric. Steve, we appreciate you joining us this morning. These orders are effective immediately. What happens now?
Well, I think that the government has to go through the process of reinstating these probationers. I think it's kind of an extraordinary decision. I mean, think about that for a minute. By their very definition, these employees were on probation, which my experience, both in my personal and professional life, and also from a legal perspective, I mean, they can be terminated at any time. So they're extraordinary orders. I don't know that these decisions will stand up on appeal, but I think, to your point, I think the government at this stage is going to have to start the process of reinstating these probationary employees.
Okay, you just mentioned appeal. Is that the next move for the Trump administration?
Well, I think absolutely. They made it abundantly clear that they're going to fight these cases to the end. They think that they sit on strong principle. They think that legally they're in the right. I think this case is a weak case for the individuals who are, backing these lawsuits against the Trump administration or pursuing these lawsuits against the Trump administration. I think there's others that may be stronger.
Without getting,
they're absolutely going to.
All right, sorry. Without getting too much into the weeds, what was the precedent from the judges to overturn that?
Well, I think what they were saying is that they didn't have appropriate notice, and they were also relying on the fact that DOJ didn't have the power to do that. They seem to be focusing a lot on DOJ itself rather than the fact that the way that the government has explained DOJ, it's an advisory body. They're advising the department heads of certain things they found, certain things they recommend, and then the departments, they themselves initiate the action. But I think, the courts in these two cases are focusing on the legal nature of DOJ itself.
Okay, so
that's what they relied on.
Right. These are just probationary employees who have worked under a year, give or take. Should there be a bigger fight for employees that have more tenure?
Well, I think when you go past probationary employees, I think that's where certain civil servant protections come into place. I think that's potentially a stronger argument for plaintiffs' attorneys in those kind of cases. I think absolutely they're stronger than this case. And I'm sure you'll be seeing more of those as well. I think the Trump administration realized there was going to be a battle, and they were willing to do it in order to cut government spending.
Yep. And we'll see if that appeal works. Steve Baric, we appreciate the insight as always. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
A massive protest took over Trump Tower in New York.